CW TV. I'm Salem Simmons. Let's get you up to date with our top stories from around campus. Wilmington government officials and business leaders joined together with CFCC and Verizon Wireless to celebrate the grand opening of their call center in Wilmington. To commemorate their opening, Verizon donated $50,000 to Cape Fear Community College Foundation for student scholarships. The scholarships will be available to students seeking a degree in the college's business programs. Over the summer, CFCC assisted Verizon with the training of hundreds of local residents hired to be customer service representatives. A land swap between the city and CFCC was announced at City Hall. The college will get 4 acres of city property to build a multi-story building, as well as a parking deck on its downtown campus. The city will get over 3 acres of Cape Fear Community College land to build 1 or more parking decks to support downtown growth. The college will now be one step closer in achieving the goal of uniting the downtown campus by developing the Wilmington Police Department site when the station moves in a couple of years. The official transfer of all the properties will take several years as the city and college develop plans for their use. This house, built by CFCC carpentry students, recently moved to its permanent location on Stanley Street in Wilmington. The house is one of 30 student-built homes constructed for Wilmington Housing Finance and Development Incorporated, a company which makes homes available for low-income families. CFCC's carpentry class builds a house every semester as part of the program. Students at Cape Fear Community College finished the design and construction of 2 log splitting machines that will be donated to the Salvation Army's Woodlot project. The log splitters are powered by a 5-horsepower gasoline engine and can split a log up to 2 feet long in 14 seconds. The project was financed by a grant from the CFCC Foundation at a cost of $900 for both. Industrial Systems instructor Joel Justice said that he was very happy to see his students use the skills they learn in class go to a good cause. The log splitters took a year to complete as the students took blueprint reading classes and then progressed on to machining, welding, hydraulics, and engine repair. It was a hero's welcome for CFCC's own Dan Hickman, who has returned from service in Iraq. The college held a ceremony welcoming General Hickman back from his tour of duty as commander of the North Carolina National Guard's 30th Heavy Separate Brigade. General Hickman's soldiers were responsible for finishing millions of dollars in road work, building schools and hospitals, and training members of the Iraqi National Guard. The general said they made measurable headway against the insurgents, whose attacks became increasingly amateur as munitions were destroyed and attackers were killed or captured. His formal involvement in the war will soon end as he plans to retire this summer. Hickman's military career started with his service in Vietnam. He plans to continue working as Vice President of Instruction for CFCC for years to come. A small group of college trustees, staff, and invited guests were on hand as a time capsule was placed in the Applied Technologies building on CFCC's North Campus. President Eric McKeithen and Board Chairman Eddie Crowell placed the capsule in a column of the unfinished building. The opening was sealed and will not be open for 100 years. Items included in the capsule were computer storage disks, college catalogs, yearbooks, and a 110-year-old drawing made by an engineering student from Washington, D.C. The capsule is scheduled to be open in February of 2105. CFCC held its annual sealant clinic for local school children in the dental clinic on 2nd Street as part of the ADA and North Carolina Dental Society's Give a Kid a Smile initiative. 42 children from 6 local elementary schools were given free sealant treatment from the CFCC dental hygiene and dental assisting students. Volunteer dentists from the Tri-County Dental Society were also on hand to assist CFCC dental students in this endeavor to seal the permanent teeth for local school children. The cast and crew of One Tree Hill are back filming at the college for their 2nd season of the hit WB program. The college acts as a backdrop for the show's fictional Tree Hill High School. Each time they film, the show's crew pulls off a little TV magic to transform the Schwartz Center into the exterior of Tree Hill's High School Gymnasium, also known as the Quad. You can see the makeover too, from the fake flyers and flowers to the Raven Spirit block. To show their appreciation to the college, the producers of One Tree Hill make a donation each time the campus is used for the show. U.S. Senator Richard Burr recently visited Cape Fear Community College during a trip to Wilmington. Upon his arrival at the downtown campus, Senator Burr was greeted by CFCC President Eric McKeithen, along with a handful of current and former trustees and college staff. During the visit, which lasted about an hour, the lawmaker talked with college officials about many issues that affect community colleges in North Carolina, as well as education nationwide. The Dean of the Technical and Vocational Program, Bob Philpott, led a brief tour of CFCC's campus, which featured some examples of student projects in engineering and architecture. Highlights included a visit to an alternative energy lab, along with a demonstration of a rapid prototyping machine and a visit to an architectural technology classroom. Whether you're a grandparent or a kid, building your first dinghy or fitting your dream yacht, boat building has something for all ages and experience levels. The boat building program here at Cape Fear prepares individuals for employment in the boat manufacturing and repair industry and indulges those who are just young at heart.
This is a very unique program in that this is the only one in a community college east of the Mississippi. So we start with people with novices, complete novices that don't even know how to read a tape measure, and we teach them how to build boats. It's easier if the student knows absolutely nothing, never held a rudder or never run a table saw or anything, because then you can start right and imprint them on the right way to do things.
Straightening it out.
The program makes anyone eligible to move right into the boat building industry, to be able to do not just hull layup and grunt work, but actually go onto the loft floor and design a boat if need be.
It starts right from the beginning. Either I figure out something that I want to design, and I'll give them some rough parameters, and they actually design the boat up on the lofting floor, or I'll give them a plan, and they'll start right from the plan. We do all our own painting, we do all our own varnishing, brush paint on, we roll paint on, we do all the different types of processes they'll see out in the industry.
You have job skills ready to go to work right away, and that's what the program is supposed to do, and does a very good job of it. And the proof of that is in the calls that Ed gets for help. They say, when's the class over? How many are you turning out? We want them.
Jobs are not a problem. The market is screaming for people. I get calls once a week from manufacturers looking for people. Everybody thinks you have to work with computers to have a skill. I strongly disagree with that. I think we still need people that know how to work with their hands, that can do the craft and trade jobs that's required in this country. And personally, I think we're getting so far away from that. So few people actually physically make something nowadays in this country that I think it's very important to have programs around like this so people know that you can make a very good living doing this. Everybody thinks, oh, he's a carpenter, he doesn't make any money. This program costs the students roughly about $1,400 for the entire year. We supply all the tools, everything, hand tools, everything. And at the end of it, for $1,300, they go to work right off the bat between $12 and $15 an hour. My guys, 1 year of school, after 3 or 4 years, can be making $40,000 a year.
The biggest thing is sense of accomplishment, because it takes so much work to actually get there, so much repetition and so much, doing things over and over again. When you finally get it right, it's the best feeling in the world, just because you have worked so hard at it,
It's just a lot of fun. It can't be any more fun in a classroom situation to come in here and actually put something together.
From sea bass and sharks to clams and crabs, marine biology instructor Jay Rogers has it all in this edition of Under the Sea.
Attracts the males. A male comes, gets right on top of her back and protects her for the next 24 to 48 hours.
Okay, so one of the many animals that you're going to encounter out here in the marsh is this guy here, the blue crab. One word I would use to describe this guy is pugnacious. These are mean, nasty individuals, and as I mentioned earlier, they are the backbone for the most prolific fishery in the state. 2003 numbers again, $33 million of blue crabs were landed in this state. That's 10 times more than the nearest landing, which were all of the shrimps. All of the shrimps account for about $10 million. So the blue crab is really important. This individual that I'm looking at here is a male. And the reason I know he's a male is because he has this nice narrow flap right here on his abdomen. That signifies to me that this is a male. Females, which I'm going to show you in a second, have a wide sort of dome-shaped. Blue crabs are true swimming crabs. They have what are called swimmerettes. These paddles here on the back of their carapace are paddles that they use to swim, and that's a great way to hold blue crabs to ensure that you don't get pinched. It's very difficult to grab a blue crab just like this, so what most people do is they hold blue crabs just like this. Right here, the joint at the back of the swimmerette is what they use to grab the blue crab. Now this guy's been out of the water a little bit. If I put him back into the water and hold him by that swimmerette, you'll see little air bubbles come out, and that's him sort of filling up his carapace with water, and he will instantly come to life. So we pull him out. Now he'll be a little bit feistier in his movements. If I put a sort of, you can see him now, he's definitely upset. Blue crabs are invertebrates, meaning they have a hard-shelled carapace. They have to shed that carapace whenever they want to grow. That's called molting. If you ever go to a restaurant and you get soft-shell crabs, you're not eating a different species of crab. You're eating a blue crab that has just shed its shell and is soft for the next 48 to 72 hours. The hardening process of this shell is a slow process that occurs, again, over 72 hours. They'll go from soft to paper shells, that's what fishermen refer to them as, and then finally to the hard carapace that we see on this guy right here. So in a restaurant, soft shell crabs, it's blue crabs, just blue crabs that have been caught right after a molt. Another really important fishery in our area.
You can spend hundreds on costly home repairs, or you can spend a few minutes with carpentry instructor Scott Romblad. He'll show you how to tackle those home projects with a few tools and a little know-how.
Okay, this is a common problem you might have around the house. It's a hole in the sheetrock wall. I'm going to show you a simple and quick, easy way to patch it so that you don't have to cut a huge hole or find studs or anything else. With a sheetrock knife and a piece of sheetrock that I've already cut bigger than the hole. If you notice, I cut the sheetrock on a bevel. It doesn't have to be perfect. It's just cut on a little bit of an angle, and that's so that it won't fall through the hole after I cut it. I'm just going to place it up here over the hole that's already there and just outline this piece of sheetrock. Doesn't have to be square, just a piece of scrap sheetrock. You might make a note on it that this is the top. Then I'm going to take the sheetrock tool and cut this same hole out again with the same bevel. And you'll see it's pretty self-explanatory after you do it. Just take the saw, punch it into the sheetrock, and cut it out. And don't be scared and don't worry about what you do with it. You can't hurt it. You've already got a hole in the wall. If this doesn't work, you can just make it a little bit bigger and keep going. As you can see, I'm just cutting at an angle, kind of like cutting out a jack-o'-lantern. Okay, we've got the hole, then you can check it to see if it fits. And actually that came out real good. You want it to go in a little bit lower, recessed a little bit more than the surface of the sheetrock. Sticking out's not good, recessed in a little bit is fine. So that piece actually works perfect. And the bevel, as you can see, keeps it from falling through. The next step is just take your sheetrock compound, put a little bit on the edges to help hold it in there while it's in place. And I'm just going to stick it in the hole. And it won't hurt you, believe me. Okay. Next thing you want to do is you want to put joint tape on it. I'll show you the joint tape a little closer up in a second. Put a thin layer of the sheetrock compound over the joints. This will keep it from cracking later on. The joint tape is about 2 inches wide. You want to tear off a piece a little bit longer than the cut that you made. You just stick that on there and wipe it out smooth. And then you'll do that on the other side. You want to just smooth it out a little bit. Okay. Now, typically this would be a good place to stop and let this dry. It's easier to work with if it's dry. Just clean it up a little bit and let that dry like that. It'll get hard and sandable. For purposes of this demonstration, we're going to continue with it wet. It's a lot easier if you let it dry. Typically let it dry till the next day. And then you do the same thing. Just use your trowel. This looks messy, but you got to remember you're going to sand it out later, and you're not trying to be a professional. You're trying to save hiring a professional so you don't have to pay them. Okay, that would be a second application. Now you would probably need to let that dry and maybe put a third application on, maybe a fourth, depending on how many times you need it to get it as smooth as you would like it. Then the final application would be to use a sanding block or piece of sandpaper, sand it out nice and smooth, and then paint it. And you've patched a hole in the sheetrock. Saved an expensive repair bill.
The reason I went into nursing is because I wanted to connect with people, because that's what it's all about. It's about making the patient better, helping them heal. I really needed the scholarship at Cape Fear Community College. I was a non-traditional student. I had a household to support, and I wouldn't have been able to go to nursing school and commit myself to graduating without that scholarship.
Invest in your community. Support the Cape Fear Community College Foundation.
Well, I started a long time ago, back in Massachusetts. I've been in police work over 30 years. I started as 19 years old, worked up in a small town in Massachusetts, and in the late 70s I joined the Los Angeles Police Department. Spent a number of years out there, and after that I became chief back in Massachusetts at 2 different agencies there. I went to Texas, Temple, Texas, and was chief there for the past 9 years. And for 7.5 weeks, I guess, I've been chief here in Wilmington, North Carolina.
How do you compare the way the last police chief ran the station to how you will run the station now?
Well, I'm not sure that I want to make any direct comparisons to any of my predecessors. I'm sure they all were good people. But I think we're going to change our focus in the department from that of just responding to calls to more of a problem-solving approach, to try to find out why we're responding to places over and over and over again, in an attempt to address the root cause of the problem, addressing the issue of social disorder, and trying to eliminate the problem so we don't have to keep going back to the same location time and time again. And I think that's going to be the biggest change you'll see, is that we're being more involved in the community, trying to make more positive contacts in the community, but yet solve the root cause of the problems in whatever neighborhood we're in, build on those positive relationships, get the people, the neighbors, the good folks who live in there to partner with us to drive the undesirable elements out of the neighborhoods.
Okay. Do you plan on changing operations at the police station? And if so, how, and what are those negative operations that you would be changing?
Well, we're going to get our officers out into the neighborhoods, get them out of the cars, and talk to folks. Talk to people who right now, the majority of the contacts we have in the community are negative. And we're arresting someone, we're giving them a ticket. I mean, it's always a negative type of contact. My position is that we need to be making positive contacts in the good times so that when the bad times come, and they will come, that we've built a base of support through positive contacts. And we need to do that by stopping and walking and talking, and the neighbors and people will tell us what's going on if we just ask. If we want to know where the bad guys are, they'll tell us. But you have to get out of the car and you have to talk to people. And what we're going to do is we're going to start moving in that direction to make positive contacts whenever we can. And we'll still arrest the bad guys, and we'll still get you traffic violators out there, especially aggressive drivers. You need to slow down, and please use your directional signals.
Okay. Now, you have a limited amount of resources, your police officers. How can you utilize those resources best?
Well, you are right. We only have X amount of personnel, X amount of dollars. And the problem every police department has around the country is that we just don't have enough resources to truly do a good job in everything. So what do? We do an okay job in everything. And I think what we need to do is focus and not take our eye off the ball, basically. If we're working on a problem neighborhood, then we need to commit to it, get it fixed, and then move on. I think what we've done in policing in general throughout the country is that we get into one location, we then get the squeaky wheel syndrome, we get pulled out of that location, we've never fixed that problem. We go to this next location, we don't fix that problem because we got another squeaky wheel over here. We need to focus, take care of the problem, and then move on. That will mean a fundamental difference in how we're policing, and people have to have, our citizens will have to have a little more patience with us if we're going to be able to solve these problems and make a difference, so we don't have to keep going back to the same location time and time again.
Okay. Well, that's all my questions. Thank you very much, Chief Evangelist.
Well, thank you. The pleasure's been mine.
Saw sitting on the grass, waiting for these days to slowly pass. Well, I'm staring at these sailing clouds, wishing that I could be proud of me. Well, I guess the things I want to know would make me pack my bags and go away. Well, tell me if I stayed tonight, would it make the things I've done seem right to you? 'Cause I'm leaving on that westbound train. I can't look to tomorrow if you're dying today. So I'll sit with you and I'll sing your favorite songs. But know, my love, that when you're good, I'm gone. The things I realized today would make me look at you and say goodbye. Well, I pack my bags and start the car, grab my hat and my guitar alone. Well, I'm heading west to find myself, maybe get a little help from her. She's waiting for me past the hills, her Colorado breezes give me chills, I'm alive. 'cause I'm leaving on that westbound train. Well, I can't look to tomorrow if you're dying today. So I'll sit with you and I'll sing your favorite song. But know, my love, that when you're good, I'm gone. When I wake up to the sun, you're the first thing on my mind. When my head is a pillow at night, you know it's so hard to unwind. Honey, you got the best of both worlds. Honey, you got the best of both worlds. Well, I'm not sure what she looks like yet. Technically, we haven't met before. But I'm sure she'll be standing there, that Colorado breeze dancing in her hair and mine. I look back at you with your smile and wish I could see you for a while today. So long, farewell, it's time to go. I just thought that you should know that I loved you. 'Cause I'm leaving on that westbound train. I can't look to tomorrow if you're dying today. So I'll sit with you and I'll sing your favorite song. But know, my love, that when you're good, I'm gone.
That wraps it up for this edition of Sea Devil TV. Join us next time right here on TLN.
1, 2, 3, 4.